Alright, I'm going to explain number block designs. So first, I'm going to have to explain the first 11 number blocks, from 0 to 10. These are the most simplest designs because they are just 1 to 10 and 0. So let's talk about 0 first. 0 is 0. Therefore, 0 is nothing. Except for a pink mouth. Yeah, because 0 still needs to talk, they just made it so that 0 is just a pink mouth and nothing else. With the 0 numbering. That's literally what 0 is. Nothing but a pink mouth. Who can still see for some reason. I have no idea how 0 can see stuff without an eye. Although many people headcanon 0's numbering to be an eye for some reason. Even I thought that was an eye before like everyone else found out it was a numbering. See that 0 done? Nothing but a pink mouth. Let's take a look at 1 next. 1 has one eye. That is one key feature for 1. Is that she has one eye. Everything else is just default. The key feature for 1 is that she has one eye. For 2, he has 2 eyes. Because he's 2. But for 3, she also has 2 eyes. And that is when the chain of numbers of eyes break, because everyone else has 2 eyes. Except for 1 and 0, because 0 has 0 eyes, 1 has 1, and 2 has 2, 3 has 2, 4 has 2, 5 has 2. Literally everyone that isn't a compound has 2 eyes, until you get to the next Cyclops being 100. I'll get to 100 later on. So anyways, 1's key feature is 1 eye. 2's key feature is that he has 2 eyes, as you can see here. And that he has a pair of shoes. 2 represents a pair of something. 2 eyes. 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 socks, 2 shoes. You see what I mean? Everything's better with 2, right? 3. 3. 3 is a pretty tricky one to see what her key feature is, except for that 3 is a magic number. There's 3 bears in Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. There's 3 little pigs. There's 3 juggling balls on her. There's 3 points on her crown thing. I believe it's a crown. And I believe that's it for 3. Oh yeah, there's 3 sections in the play. Beginning, middle, end. 1, 2, 3. You know that. 4. 4 is the easiest one. He's a square, and a square has 4 sides. He has square eyes. He must be playing too many video games. He has square eyebrows, even though they're actually rectangles, but they're segmented into squares. And he has 4 limbs. That's another thing, but everyone has 4 limbs, except 8. Anyways, 0 and 0, because no limbs. 0 and 8 are the only ones that don't have 4 limbs. 5. 5 fingers. 5 points on a star. That is one thing to... That is why 5's like that. She has a star eye because there's 5 points on a star. She has a 5-fingered glove because there's 5 fingers on her hand, including the thumb. If the thumb doesn't count as a finger, then 4 would have frickin' glove. But 5 does, because you always have to count the thumb. 6. There's 6 eyelashes on her. There's 6 spots on a dice, because that's what 6 is based on. A dice. And I think that's it for 6. 6. The only thing about 6, in that case, is dice. And the eyelashes. 7 is also an easy one. He has 7 colours. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Not red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and purple. Like many people would say. It's indigo and violet, not blue and purple. I think that's the only thing 7's special of, is that he has 7 colours in the rainbow. 8. 8 is also a very easy one to remember. 8 has 8 points, 4 each on each eye, and he's an octopus, which means that he has 8 limbs, like an octopus. 9. But 9 doesn't have 4 stars, it's 9, why is he a square? It's because 9 is a square, and it's because he's 3 times 3, 4 is 2 times 2, 1 is 1 times 1, 0 is 0 times 0, but we don't show 0 being a square, so we don't count 0. 1 by 1 is 1, 2 by 2 is 4, 3 by 3 is 9, that's why 9's a square. He's also 3 shades of grey. 10. 10 is the most hardest one out of the original team. The original team. 10's the hardest one. Because 10 resembles 5 because 2 times 5. But she also has a little bit of 1 in her as well. As you can see, 10 has red. 10 has red on her, just like 1. But she isn't completely like 1, because she has 2 star eyes and 2 gloves, which makes her similar to 5. Although, the reason why that happens is because of her name. The name of the number is just 10. It's not 110. If it was, it just looked like a fat 1 or something. But in that case, it's just called 10, so it would make sense if 10 looked more unique. So yeah, that's all the original Numberblocks designs explained. Next up, the numbers from 11 to 20. Oh boy, this is going to be a bit of a bumpy ride. Okay, so because all of the teens are too big and fat to have 20 fit on the screen, I'm going to only do 11 to 90. As you can see, all of them look unique in a way. Except for the fact that 4 of them have same face syndrome. That being 13, 14, 17 and 19. Can this noise just stop? Anyways, let's get on with it. 11. 11 is a football team, as you can tell. 11 is the number of football players in a team, which is why 11 is football. 12. 12 has a new topic that no other number block smaller than her has gotten. It's the fact that she is a super rectangle, and that she has 6 factors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12. Those are the factors of 12. And because she has more factors than everyone below her, that makes her a super rectangle. Now for 13. 13 is pretty basic, am I right? Well, 13's appearance isn't really determined and such because he's a prime number. And that nothing really special comes out of the word. Like, the number 13 isn't really special, other than the fact that it's a very unlucky number, which is where 13's personality kicks in, because he's pretty unlucky. And then we've got 14, the most hated number block in the community because of the whole cliche stuff that's been going on. And it's the fact that people say that 14 is cliche because he's 7. And that's okay because 14 is 7. If you look at his blocks, other than the fact that he's 10 and 4, if you go down, you can see a 2 and a 5, and then a 2 and a 5. You can see that. I really need to get a drink after I talk about designs and stuff. So yeah, another way you can tell 14's 7 is his eyebrows. If you take a look, his eyebrows represent 2 7s. Other than that, he's pretty cool and stuff. Let's talk about 15. Or what the smartest rectangle in the world likes to refer to it as. Jesse! So anyways, 15 here represents 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. And that's pretty new because apart from 10 in her debut episode, no other number blocks have had steps introduced as their shape, other than 10 in the debut episode. 3's done it, but that wasn't qualified as a step just yet, but 10 did, and she mentioned the word stairs, but she doesn't have a step mask. But then 15 came here and said, I am a step squad of 1 through 5. Then she had this awesome mask, and then she split into 1 to 5. Why didn't 10 do that? That is what I want to know. Why didn't 10 do that? In fact, it's because the first main step squad has half of the radix numbers amount of steps. 10's the radix, half of 10 is 5, that's how many steps 15 has. That might be why 15's the first main step squad. Let's talk about 16 now. 16 is a square, of course, because 16's made of 4 times 4. And she's also a square made of squares. And she has her own club of squares and stuff called Square Club. That's all we have to say about 16. 17 is also another example of basic stuff. 17 is a painter because he has a 7 on him. And stuff. Yes, 17's a painting guy because he's an artist. Because he has a 7 on him. And there's nothing more special about 17 because he's a bloody prime number. I'm a prime number, so I don't have to worry about being a rectangle. I can just go painter Cliff. Then we've got 18. 18 is the second super rectangle, so he has the same treatment as 12. 12 and 18 are also siblings, if you're wondering. That's why they look very, very similar. Other than the fact that they're both rectangles. Next is 19. And the thing is, 19 is also prime. 19 is also prime. Just like 11, 13, and 17. But 19 doesn't have anything special. As you can tell. And yeah, I've still got a few minutes. 19 is every time 19 tries to make a rectangle, yeah, she fails. Because she's always one off of 20 or one more than 18 when she makes a rectangle. So what she does is that she makes loads of crazy shapes, if you're wondering. That's what 17 could have done, and 13. But 13's unluckiness pushes that aside, and 17 having a 7 on him pushes it aside. 19 doesn't have anything to do with that. And so she's the main crazy shaper. Alright, that's all of the teens explained. Now it's time to go on to the 20s. But the thing is that there are only 4 known number blocks that have 2 10s that are figured out. I'm going to explain them in the next video. Stay tuned for that. Okay, this is going to be a pretty short video since there's only like 4 of these guys. So anyways, let's explain the numbers like 20 and on. This was originally going to be 21 and on, but the teens decided to be fat and lazy and not let 20 in. So 20's here with the 20s, so it's more fitting. So let's talk about 20 first. So 20, as you all know, is very similar to 2 from the first video. And that's because 20 is made up of 2 lots of 10, as opposed to 2 being made up of 2 lots of 1. And 10 is the radix number, and 1 is the radix divided by the radix. So that would make sense. And 20 has more details as well, such as a hat, eyebrows, a bow tie, different shoes, and of course, the same watch that 12 has, and 18, making him the 3rd super rectangle. But if you're wondering, why doesn't he have rectangle eyes? It's because he's a big 2. He's a big 2, so that's why he doesn't have rectangle eyes. And that's all for 20. Now for 21. 21 is similar to 15 because she's a step squad. Well, yeah, she's a step squad, of course, because she has a step mask. She has a hat with 3 feathers that are rainbow coloured to represent 3 7s. Because 21 is 3 times 7. 21 also has a 20 boot and a 1 boot, which represents 20 and 1. That's the easiest thing you can get from 21, being made of 20 and 1. The name also says it, 21. And the reason why 21 is an explorer is because she's the first number to be a compound. The teens aren't compound because they have unique names. 21 doesn't, so that's why she was compound. And she was figured out later on, so that's kind of good, I guess. 21's an explorer because she likes exploring bigger numbers. And that's where 22 comes in. 22 is basically just 11, but eating too many McDonald's. But the thing is, 22 is literally twice the power of 11. How you can tell? He splits into a blue 11 and a red 11. And these two 11s like to play football with each other. Yay! They are called football teams, of course. And they split into... The blue 11 splits into me 11 times. And the red 11 splits into Reds 11 times. Like, the blue ones and the red ones represent the teams, right? Yeah, that's right. The fandom literally got triggered when they saw a blue one in the show. The fandom literally got so triggered to the fact that they literally referred to the blue ones as Jays. Because they... you know... let's continue to 22. 22 doesn't have anything else. So that's why he's just a big 11. That's why he's just a bigger... That's why he's just 11's bigger brother. I don't think he's 11's brother, but he's like a big version of 11 with two 11s on his side and stuff. And blues and reds and stuff. Let's go with 25. 25 is yet again another square. As you can tell, 25 is 5 lots of 5. But she doesn't really do that other than the fact that she does raise when compound. So that's a good thing. And 25 has these 5-pointed eyebrows. I don't know what they're about, but I'm not sure if... I'm actually not sure what those eyebrows are for. They could represent 5 times 5 or something. So yeah, that's all of the 20s explained or something. And yes, there's no 23 or 24 because they aren't officially figured out yet. Although I do have fan designs for them, which I'll explain in a separate video. So that's all for the 20s. Now it's time for the multiples of 10. Okay, this is video number 4 of Jay explaining Numberblocks designs. We're on the fat ones now. We're on the fat Numberblocks. What I'd like to call them, the fat Numberblocks. It's pretty funny, but it's pretty rude, but yeah, they're literally fat Numberblocks because they're literally just fat versions of the units. So yeah, we're going on from 30 to 90. So we've got like 7 of them to explain about this time. Right, and let's talk about 30. 30 is simple. Big 3. But why does she not completely look like a big 3? Why is her hat different? Well, what if I tell you that 30 owns a circus? In a hat. Because in one episode, she just throws her hat across, then it expands, then they go in, and it's turned into a circus. 30 is a literal clown. Yeah, that's right, 30 is a clown. In fact, all of the multiples of 10 are pretty much exaggerated versions of 3 to 9, for example. And that's probably what I'm going to talk about with 40. 40 has rectangle eyes because 1, he's a fat 4, and 2, he's not a square. So he's a rectangle now. And he has a book with different types of rectangles. Long ones, short ones, and square ones. In fact, they're actually oblongs, not rectangles. Because if they were rectangles, then squares wouldn't be in the list. But for oblongs, all equal four-sided shapes that are rectangular and square-shaped are oblongs. And 40 is a rectangle, so yeah, he can't be a square, so yeah. That's 40 done. Let's talk about 50. 50 is a big 5. But not completely, because her name is 50, not 5T. If it was 5T, then it will just completely look like a big 5. But it's called 50. So 50 is a superstar. And that's why she has a shooting star eye instead of a regular star eye, because she's more supreme. She's more supreme than 5. So yeah, screw 5, 50's way better. Don't worry, I don't hate 5, but I'm just doing that as a joke. I don't really hate 5, everyone. Anyways, let's go on to the literal big fat number blocks. Alright, 60. 60 is just 6, but eating too many McDonald's. But 60 doesn't have her dots. Well, it's because there are 60 sides on a dice. You won't just expect you wouldn't expect someone to have a dice that's the size of a giant. You wouldn't expect someone to have a dice that's the size of a giant grapefruit and just roll it across the freaking table expecting it to land on a 60. That's why 60 isn't a dice, but yeah, that's why 60 isn't really a spots number. But she still has the big 6 in her. Yeah, so that's why she can sometimes have dots. That's 60 done. Now it's time for 70. 70 is fat 7. Let's get on to... Just kidding. 70 is a rainbow god, as you can tell. 70 can literally make rainbows. I think 7 can as well, but I only remember 70 making rainbows. Yeah. Yeah, he made rainbows in 2 episodes. In 60's high score, he makes rainbows while splitting into 10 sevens. In the big one, he creates a rainbow for 71 to 80 to jump across. So yeah, 70 can create rainbows. In fact, he has rainbows all over him. He has rainbow limbs. Let's go with 80. 80 is fat 8. He's literally 8, but eating too much. But I'm not going to make that joke like 3 times in a row. So, anyways, 80 is Super Octoblock. And he can split into 10 8s, which can reassemble to make 80 make different... 80 is literally just 19, but better, if that's what you want to know. 80 is literally just 19, but way better. Because he can make awesome shapes that can do anything. Like, he can turn into a robot called a Roboctoblock, I think. And he can make a dinosaur called Dinoctoblock or something. Yeah, he can make all sorts of different awesome shapes and stuff. Let's get on with 90 now. 90 is a very interesting one. You may think that 90 would just be a fat 9 with rectangle eyes similar to 40. Because 90 isn't all square and stuff. But what if I tell you that 90 is more than that? 90 is a magician! That's right! 90 is a magician! He has a pocket to put his magic tricks in. He has a magic wand! He's a freaking magic man! Or magic block, to be exact. But why is he a magician? 9 isn't a magician, so why is 90 a magician? What if I tell you it's because 9 likes to sneeze all the time? And it's because 9 likes to, 9 has, like, loads of hankies to block his nose. Yeah, the reason why I'm saying nose, but Numberblocks don't have noses. But it's because 9's middle block likes to just twitch around all the time and just fly out of 9. 9 refers to it as a tickly nose, so that's why I refer to it as a nose. So yeah, 9's tickly nose and his hankies. Well, 9's tickly nose doesn't really go on to 90 because he's not square, so he can't sneeze. So 9's hankies coincide with one of 90's magic tricks. So, which is the cloth thing. So that's why he's a magician. Kind of. Alright, let's get on with more bigger number blocks, like 100 on something. Okay, so this is video number 5, explaining hundreds. So if you may be wondering, where are 400 to 800? They don't exist. That's right, they don't exist. So that's why only these guys are here, because the others don't exist. And 1000 isn't in this because she's her own bloody number, not 1000. 1000 is her own number. So that's why only up to 900 is there. It's the same thing that happened with the previous video, why 100 isn't in it, because 100 is her own number. So anyways, let's explain what these guys are. This is going to take like a minute to explain. 100 is just a giant version of 1. But not completely, because she has a checkerboard pattern. Which 1 doesn't have. Because 1's too small to have 1. But yeah, 100 has a checkerboard pattern. And that is carried on to all the other multiples of 100. So yeah. 100 is special because she's 10 times 10, she's a big square, she has 3 digits. Or 3 figures, or whatever you want to call it. She's a super rectangle, but that doesn't matter because she's a square and stuff. Just like 1. 1 was a square like a few, like 10 episodes before we get to see 100. 100 also has a deep voice, which is also unique on her because 1 doesn't have a deep voice. 1 has a cute voice. 100 has a deep, slow voice, which still has the charm on making you think that she's a big 1 because there's an episode called The Big 1. Where they make numbers up to 100. And 100 debuted in the big one, which explains why she's a big one, because the episode she debuted in was called The Big One. Or you can just do it in a different way and refer to it as, hey, that's a big one. 100. So yeah. Let's talk about 200 and 300. And yes, I'm talking about these at the same time because there's nothing really special about them. 200 is a big 2, and 300 is a big 3. That's all. But 300 has a missed opportunity. 300 could have had a step mask. Because 300 has 24 steps. 24 steps. It's going to be really hard just making a step mask on 300 as it is. I'm not sure what's special about 200 because, by the looks of it, he should stay as that. 300 should be modified a little bit, like add the step mask. Because 300 isn't just a big 3, you know. Then we get on to 900. Because 400, 500, 600, 700 and 800 decided to don't exist! Or something. So we've gone all the way from 300 to 900. 900 also has a missed opportunity. Look at his eyes. They're rectangles. Yeah, they're rectangles. Why are they rectangles? He's clearly standing in a square. Look, he's 30 blocks across and 30 blocks tall. His eyes should be square. And the reason why they are not square is because I have no idea, but I have no idea what they were thinking. I believe it's because they haven't been researching 900 a lot. They haven't been researching the multiples of 100. So that's why 900's got rectangles for eyes instead of square, and why 300 doesn't have a step mask. I don't see anything wrong with 200. So yeah, that's all the 100 explained. And 100's probably the main one here, because these other ones only appear in a dream. So yeah, let's go on to the thousands. They're probably going to take like 3 seconds to explain because of how easy they are. Alright, so here are all the other ones. And yes, that's a pun, because all of them are giant ones except for 10,000, you see. So, let's talk about them. 1,000, the one on the left, you can see here, because of sizing, 1,000 is pretty tiny in this shot, because of 1 million here, and 100,000 and 10,000 and stuff. 1,000 is just a giant 1. Nothing special, because 1,000 is 1,000. And so should be expressed as 1,000. And because 1 is a cube as well, that's why 1,000 is a giant 1. But 1,000 isn't a square, so yeah, that's one thing to know. Then we got 10,000, who is a square, and not the actual 10. Pretty noteworthy to tell that Neither 10 or 1000 are squares, while 10,000 is. And that's because of powers and 10. So 1 is 10 to the power of 0. 10 is 10 to the power of 1. 100 is 10 to the power of 2. 1000 is 10 to the power of 3. 10,000 is 10 to the power of 4. Then we've got 100,000, which is 10 to the power of 5. And then 1,000,000, which is 10 to the power of 6. Got a pattern here? All of 10 to the power of even... 10 to the power of an even number always gives you a square. Yeah, in fact, any number to the power of an even number gives you a square. Like, it can work with 10. Like, 100 is a square because 10 to the 2, that's an even number. 10 to the 4, that's an even number. You get 10,000, which is a square. 10 to the 6, 6 is an even number. What do you get? 1,000,000. What is 1,000,000? A square and a cube. Just like 1. Let me tell you a pattern with the order of magnitudes. Square and a cube, nothing, square, cube, square, nothing, square and a cube. Do you get a little pattern here? If so, then is it some sort of reverse flip and flop order or something? Because 1 and 1,000,000 are both a square and a cube. 10 and 100,000 are nothing. 100 and 10,000 are squares. And 1,000 is in between and is just a cube. That's a little pattern or something that I just somehow invented. Square and cube, nothing, square, square cube, nothing, square cube, square, nothing, square cube. That's a little thing I have to know. That is why 100,000's got a round eye, because some stupid person will like to think, but 100,000's a square, look at how many blocks it has. Yeah, you can clearly see that 100,000 has a freaking 10,000 blocks. There's like another 90,000 blocks behind those 10,000 blocks you can see here. And same goes with 1,000,000. Except for that 1,000,000 is a square. But there's like another 990,000 blocks behind the 10,000 blocks you can see. 10,000, you can see like another 9,000 blocks behind the 1,000 blocks visible. Like, yeah. A person would like to think, why is 10,000 a square? Well, it's because 10,000 is 100 times 100. Like, if you rearrange 10,000 into a 100 by 100 square, it's possible. It's possible to make 10,000 into a square because 10,000 is a square number. So is 1,000,000. You can make 1,000,000 into a 1,000 by 1,000 square. Except 1,000,000 is going to probably be as big as 1,000,000,000 as a cube. And that's probably going to be an issue. In fact, is it 1,000,000,000 or is it 1,000,000,000,000? I think it's a billion. So yeah, 1,000,000 as a square is probably going to be as big, as tall and as wide as 1,000,000,000, I think, as a cube. That's what I'm going to explain here. Of course, you can't make 100,000 into a square. even though 100,000 looks like a square, it's not really a square. Because it's 10 to the power of 5. And 5 isn't even, so 100,000 is a square. So, what to say about these numbers? They're all pretty obvious. Because 1,000, 10,000s, 100,000s, and a million. That's basically just how... This is basically just these number blocks in a nutshell. Fat fricking ones. Except 10,000, of course. So, yeah. Those are all the number blocks explained. Probably going to do my fan designs next, so I can explain what's up with them. You know, why is 29 a freaking rabbit? I'll explain them a few, I'm going to explain to them later, because I've gone through I think I've gone through like 6 episodes of just explaining designs of freaking kids show characters. All without drinking water. My god. So yeah. If I talked about all the numbers from 1 to 1 million without drinking water, I would probably be a skeleton in bed, just because I'd be talking like about a million number blocks in a row. I'd just be a skeleton with no air. I'd just be lying in bed as a skeleton. Just talking about bloody... Because I'd probably die for talking far too much. You know, there's one man who actually counted up to 1 million. Of course, he didn't turn into a skeleton, but he passed out after counting to that number. He did it with no water, no breaks. He bloody passed out at the end. He didn't turn into a skeleton, so don't worry. He didn't turn into a skeleton because he counted too much, but he... Something bad just still happened to him. So yeah, guys. Don't count to 1 million. Or any number that's too big, because you probably just stop at like 1,000 or something because of how freaking tedious it is to just... How long does it take to count to 1 million? I just want to know. Uh, 11 days to count to 1 million? No, I don't want an iPhone 11. 11 days to count to 1 million? Alright, welcome to the first episode of Numberblock fan designs and what they basically are. Alright, so these are my fan-made 20s. And these will be my fan-made 20s forever. Unless Numberblocks makes an unexpected comeback with new episodes. So unless they come back with unexpected new episodes, with an unexpected new character being 23 or something, which might not happen, these might be my designs forever. Anyways, let's explain them. Alright, first up is 23. 23 looks like that because... well, she's 20 and 3. Alright. She's got the eyes of 20, the crown of 3, and that's basically it. Now let's go on to 24. 24 is a super rectangle. And of course, super rectangles can be quite boring after a while. Especially when you look at numbers like... If a number's like... Yeah, super rectangles can get quite boring after the 60 mark, because that would be a very common trait. But 24 is the 4th super rectangle, and I'm okay with it. Of course, I gave him the hat of 20 because I just want to. 26. 26 is a double 13, of course. But is that all? Of course, the reason why I didn't base him off the alphabet like all my previous 26s is because of one thing. Worldwide. This worldwide is probably one example why my 26 right now isn't based on the freaking alphabet. Because you'd have to watch a, for example, if you live in Spain, there are like 27 letters in the alphabet, with the extra letter being Enya, which is the N with the tilde on top. And if you look at 26 with letters all over his face, you're going to be like, but 27 should have that. There's like 27 letters in our alphabet. So that's why 26 isn't based on the alphabet anymore. It's because of worldwide stuff. Punch Card can still be based on the alphabet though, because he's a 26. I could make 26 in the punch card shape if I wanted to. Heck, one of my old 26s had the punch card shape. I didn't notice that until now. One of my old 26s have the punch card shape. And that was way before... I believe that was like before Punch Card even made his 26. Anyways, let's get on to 20... Oh. Let me fix that. There we go. 27. Alright, so 27 has a 7 with a 20 around it. Of course. Did you know that 27's face is actually the same colour as the blue 11? Anyways, the reason why I keep adding a crown onto 27 is because 27 should have a crown. And that's because he's part of the multiplying by 3 pattern. So you get 1 and you times 1 by 3, you get 3, which has a crown. Then you multiply 3 by 3, you get 9, who doesn't have a crown. Then you get 27, who does. Then you get 81, who shouldn't, because he's a square. Or she. I don't know about 81 yet. I think 81's a he. Then you'd get 300... 300? No, I think it's... 243? who should have a crown. That is why 27 has a crown. Like, that is because 8 has goggles, like 2. So you get 1 who doesn't have glasses, and 2 who has glasses. Then you multiply it by 2 again, you get 4 who has glasses. Double 4, you get 8 who has glasses. Multiply it by 2, you get 16 who doesn't have glasses. And if you get 32, 32 would have glasses because it will just follow the pattern. And then 64 who doesn't, then 128 who should. You know what I mean? Like, that's the same thing I should do with by the tripling pattern. One exception is the 4 pattern, because all of them are squares. That's right. All of them are bloody squares if you're multiplying by 4 starting with 1 all the bloody time. All the numbers are squares. Then you get 5 1, then 5 who has a star eye, then 25 who doesn't. Then you'd probably get 125 who would have a starish eye or something. You know what I mean? That's why 27 has a crown. It's because 3 does, 1 and 9 don't. And 3 and 27 should, because 27 is 3 times a 3 by 3 square. Or a 3 times multiple of 3 square, if you know what I mean. 28. The reason why 28 doesn't have rectangle eyes is because I'm lazy, of course. I should update 28 to give him rectangle eyes because he's a super rectangle. Anyways, he has a similar hat to 21 because he's 4 times 7. He has 4 feathers on his hat. And in my headcanon, 28 is 21's brother. Because they're both lucky multiples of 7 who are step squads. And then we've got 29. Why is 29 a bunny? 2 words. Leap year. Yes, leap year. And February has 29 days in a leap year. And what do rabbits do? They leap. So that's why 29's a bloody rabbit. Do I have to explain that like 8 times? Because in every comment, in every video with 29 in it, I get the question, why is 29 a bloody rabbit? And I have to say the same 2 words again. Leap year, leap year, leap year. It gets so bloody annoying. So yeah, 29 is a bunny because leap year, bunnies leap. February has 29 days in a leap year, that's all. My God. I have gone absolutely insane right now because I have to mention people just slamming me because